Oh, welcome in everyone. Hello, ladies. Welcome in. So, who is joining me live today? You guys, there's Facebook, the live streaming thing is looking a little bit weird today. Like it looks different. But, anyways, welcome in, ladies. Welcome in. We have a very well requested topic. I've been putting off this topic for like months now because for me, I'm going to share more story into how I first got acquainted with this topic. And then I thought, you know what, let's shift it back a little bit until we get more requests for it, and then we'll talk about it. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about how do you receive respect at work and get people to take you seriously without having to work twice as hard, okay? So welcome in, ladies, welcome in. If this is the first time that you're joining a video of mine, you're watching a live training like this, or you've seen me on YouTube, whatever. My name is Abby, and I am a life coach. So I help professional women have a work-life balance. Now, with my fellow professional women, one of the most, when I'm talking with them on a daily basis, one of the things that they tell me is, yeah, Amy, it's great to have a work-life balance. It's fantastic. However, I have to always do this at work. I have to always, prove myself at work. I have to, work twice as hard just so that I can get the same level of respect. How do you have a work-life balance when you are working twice as hard? Do you guys see how distorted that is? Like it's almost like, yeah, I have a work-life balance, but you need to work twice as hard. There's a word I'm looking for that just shows how essentially they don't align. Let's use that word, disaligned, okay, or misaligned rather. And when I'm working with these women and I'm coaching them to have a work-life balance, they have this thought at the back of their mind. They tell me, AB, you don't know my manager. Oh, that's one of the favorite ones I love to hear. AB, you don't know my boss. AB, you don't know the culture at work and things like that. And what I tell them is what I'm going to tell you guys today is at the end of the day, the question is, do you want to have a work-life balance? If you do want to have a work-life balance and this thing is stopping you from having that balance, is it serving you? Even if it's there, okay? This is not, we're not going to be saying, or I'm not going to say, oh, you're lying and whatnot. This is not an argument of whether it's there or not. It is true. These women are experiencing this problem there, but is it serving you? If it's not serving you, then carry on with this video because I'm going to share 3 steps that you can start doing to have a balanced life, even if you feel like you have to work twice as hard, okay? And I'm going to share my own story with this thought as well, because a lot of you don't know my background, but I used to be that woman that people say you work twice as hard. I used to work like 10 times as hard than most women will think or most women will do. And I was in this career, like in the tech industry, where there's always problems to be solved. So you can imagine being the kind of person that feels like she needs to work 10 times as hard in a situation where there is always work to be done. It literally almost killed me. So when women tell me, Abby, I need to work twice as hard, I'm like, yeah, great. But is that sustainable in the long run? Is it? It's not. It's not. Because in my own part, when I thought, oh, I need to work 10 times as hard, not even 2 times. 2 times for me was like, no, Abby, they're not gonna respect you. In this field, you have to prove yourself and whatnot, right? And so I started doing the 10 times as hard. And when, my buddy told me, like, girl, you better choose whether you want to live or not. And I realized that, no, it's not sustainable. I don't want to work twice as hard. But at the same time, there were certain things that I started doing, and I noticed in my personal life that, wait a minute, I'm not working twice as hard, but I'm getting the same benefit that I thought that I would get if I triple my effort, quadruple my effort, 10 times my effort, right? So these are the things that I want to share with you guys today. Girls, I tell you, all the videos that I create, or the trainings that I give, or the boot camps that I give, these are as a result of curated, somewhat very painful experiences that I'm turning into lessons now. So if I can save you that trouble, of going through the same experience and then you realizing, like, yeah, not for me, I'm not doing it again, then I've done my job. Okay, I have done my job. All right. So make sure you have your pens and paper. By the way, if this is the first time that you're seeing a live training of mine, I'd like to have my notes here with me and my water, because like I said, I want you guys to start getting acquainted with being able to manage yourself, manage your emotions, manage your thoughts by learning how to journal and really articulate what it is that you're thinking here and put it in a book so that you can keep your energy clean and clear. And also water. This is very important as a woman. You want to make sure that you're staying hydrated, because your energy actually releases, or you really need to stay hydrated to be able to be in flow. Okay, so your body needs you to be hydrated, not just to live, right? Because some people might be like, yeah, AB, of course we need to drink water to live, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about allowing your feminine energy and staying in flow. Energy doesn't move in a dense, stoic, and tense body, right? It moves in a dynamic and soft and flowy body, right? So you want to make sure that you're staying hydrated. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. So I've talked a little bit about why this notion and thought of working twice as hard to be taken seriously is not sustainable. Now, the question that I get almost every time, like, you guys know, I'm not only a life coach, but I also speak. I'm also a speaker as well. And so when I speak at organization functions and audiences of professional women, they hear my story, they hear my message, and they're like, yeah, AB, that's great. But in this environment, we feel like we have to work twice as hard. So how is that going to apply in our environment? So if this is your current state where you feel like your environment has fostered that need for you to put in 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, or if you were in my case, 10 times the effort, what do you do? Do you quit? Because this is the first thing that women will go to do. They want to quit, right? But not everybody wants to quit from a career that they spent years building. And even more so if you enjoy it. Like, if you actually like what you do, then you don't want to go quit and find yourself in another environment repeating the same process. Okay? So one of the very first things, when I started my own journey, one of the very first things that I would say made the most significant difference, that I didn't have to quit. Corporate didn't change. The culture didn't change, but I changed. And when I changed, the dynamic that I was experiencing changed as well. So what was the biggest thing that I did? Okay. So initially, like you guys, my thought was every day I have to step into work twice as hard. When I started pulling the curtains back on where did I hear this? Like, what was the origin of this story that I was telling myself? Why did I walk into the office every day thinking I need to work 10 times as hard to prove myself? Why did I even think, because on a logical level, that doesn't even make sense. Our physiology cannot support that. But what was it about this story that drove my behavior? And so I had to really start doing what I call inner work. So let me pull this back for you guys a little bit. One of the major things why professional women, like women in corporate, why you feel like you cannot stop working twice as hard to be able to be taken seriously, even though people have told you that you don't need to. One of the reasons why you can't do it is because your self-worth and sense of approval is tied to what you do. Ladies, you see this thing that I just told you? I've just saved you $100,000 in therapy and coaching and whatever. I've just saved you $100,000 because that's what it cost me. Because when I learned to decouple my sense of approval and my self-worth from the thing that I produce at work, my life changed. Like, it changed. Now, if the environment at work was creating this air of women have to work twice as hard, which I'm not even gonna go there. I am not even gonna go there, because from what I have seen with talking with women and whatnot, we create that. But I'm not even gonna go there. Let's not even talk about that. But what I have seen is that regardless of what was going on in the workplace, because my sense of approval and my belief in who I am as a person, my self-worth, what I believe that I'm worth, wasn't tied together anymore. Now it didn't matter. It didn't matter whether anybody told me, yeah, AB, you need to work 4 times as hard. Who cares? I didn't care, because I didn't need that approval. So therefore, it could not drive my behavior any longer. And the way that I was able to decouple that was through inner work. And what this means was that I had to go internally within me and say, what is it about work and the satisfaction that I get from work that drives me to literally almost throw myself off the cliff, okay? To literally neglect my well-being and work 10 times as hard. What is it about that? What am I getting from work beyond the paycheck? Because this is not about the paycheck. Beyond the paycheck, what is it about that work that is causing me to behave in illogical ways? And I see this in a lot of women, the women I coach, the women I work with, the women that are surrounded by me. We have tied our sense of well-being, or rather our sense of our identity, our sense of approval, our self-worth to what we produce at work. We have tied that. They go together. Okay? And so even when I tell you, hey, you don't have to work twice as hard, it goes in here and comes out here, because that thing is driving the way that you behave. So what helped me, ladies, the first step to all of this was, first of all, is I needed to be aware of this belief and this thought that if I don't prove myself twice as hard, or if I don't work twice as hard, then I will not be taken seriously. I'm here to tell you they're actually not related. Oops. Oh my gosh, baby. Yeah. People taking you seriously and you working twice as hard, they're actually not related at all. Because I have witnessed it. Women have told me, and I have witnessed it, that they have been in situations where Betty in the corner was working 20 times as hard, leaving the office at 9 p.m., getting to the office at 6 a.m., and still didn't get taken, or she didn't feel like she was taken seriously. I have seen this. I have been a victim of this as well. I have experienced it. Women have multiple times. This is why, when we hear women talk, there's a lot of frustration, because if it was you, how would you feel? Like you're burning yourself out and no reward. Well, I'm here to tell you, you working and burning those hours is not related to how much respect that you get. What actually drives your respect and people taking you seriously is the perceived value of what you bring to the workplace. That's it. So if you are leaving the office at 10 p.m. and getting in at 3 a.m., that's an extreme case, but you get the point. If you were doing that and you think that by doing that, people are going to take you seriously, I'm sorry, but that does not mean. In fact, if you understand human psychology, we don't value the things that are too available. Yes, we do not value it. So let's start there. First things first, decouple the fact that I need to do more to be taken seriously. They are not related. I know it does not make sense, and that is good, because that's why I'm here to help, okay? That's why I'm here to help. They are not related, regardless of what you're seeing, regardless of what you're feeling, because, when I'm talking with women, they say, yeah, but. And it's not until they do their inner work and then they release those beliefs and then they come back and tell me, oh my gosh, Amy, why did you tell me this long ago? And I say, I've been telling you, it's just your brain was seeing something different. It needed to remove the old information and receive the new for it to resonate with you. Okay, so that's the first step. First step, I'm just going to recap, is decouple you being taken seriously from you doing more. The more work that you do does not mean they will take you seriously. They are not related. However, the more valuable that people perceive you to be, the more they will respect you. And the beauty about that is that you get to choose how valuable you want to be perceived as. It's entirely your choice. It's entirely your choice. It's not dependent on your manager or your boss or the workplace. It's really dependent on how you choose to show up. Okay, are we getting this so far? All right, I'm gonna take a sip and we'll move to step 2. Okay, so just before I move to step 2, there was a point that I want to reiterate because we're going to use this in step 2. So in addition to decoupling your thought and the belief that more work, more respect, in addition to that, you would also need to decouple more work, what I do from work, with how valuable I perceive myself to be, or how much I want people to approve me. Okay? Put that at the back of your mind. I'll relate to it in the future steps. All right, so now let's move to step 2. So now that you've seen that your ability to be taken seriously is not tied to how much you do and whatnot, the next step is you have to decide, how do you want to show up at work? Like, how do you want to be perceived as? Do you want to be Betty in the corner that's working 100 hours per week and nobody cares? If that's you, and you're still watching my video up to this point, or just trading, then there's something in your DNA, there's something in your spirit that's saying it's time to get up, it's time to change. Okay? So do you want to be the kind of woman that people perceive as so valuable that when you step into a room or a meeting and you speak, they listen? They listen. Do you want to be that kind of woman? Or do you want to be the one that, thinks that she has to prove herself to everybody and do every single thing just so that she can be taken seriously? You get to choose. Okay? You get to choose. You get to choose. If you decide to go with the leveled up professional woman, the one that is seen for her value, the one that when she steps into a room, people listen, or when she speaks, people listen, and the one that is able to authentically connect with her and balance her life, if you want to be that woman, then in addition to making a decision, you have to be comfortable with what it takes to be that woman. And one of the key traits of that woman is she knows her worth. She understands her value. See, your perception of your value is mirrored by other people. It is impossible to think of yourself as less valuable and expect other people to value you. It doesn't work like that. We mirror what other people are doing. We do what other people do. So if somebody steps into your field and you are doing, saying, acting in a way where their mind is interpreting it as less valuable, that's how they're going to treat you. So how does this relate to not taking you seriously? Okay. If you, let me give you a scenario of what the average person is thinking when you are in one state and what the average person is thinking when you're in another state. Okay, so let's start with Betty. Betty, who is there for 10 hours and working 100-hour weeks and whatnot and has no work-life balance. Let's start with Betty. So Betty is in the office at 6 a.m. Betty leaves the office at 10 p.m. When you come to Betty's desk, you interrupt her and say, hey, Betty, I've got this. Can you do this? She says yes. Betty's doing everything possible to prove herself. Betty's at everybody's beck and call. When you need Betty, she's there. Betty's a do-it-all. Betty's got it. Betty is like superwoman. Okay, that's Betty. Her reputation is anything you want to get done, give it to Betty. Even if it doesn't matter, give it to her. Now, some women might be like, well, that doesn't sound so bad. Yeah. But if your desire is for people to respect you, then it's hard to respect someone that has no boundaries. It's just the way it is. Is it fair though? We're not talking about fairness here. We're talking about the reality. It is hard to respect someone who does not think her time is valuable enough to prioritize what it is that she's receiving from other people. It is hard to value someone or to look at someone in a respectful manner and take her seriously. It is very hard if she doesn't think that about herself. So why would I take Betty seriously and give Betty high profile projects that are strategic, projects that can make a difference in the organization? Why would I give it to Betty when I know somebody can interrupt her and give her something less valuable and she'll still do it anyways? How can I trust that Betty will prioritize what I'm giving her and do it well? How can I even trust that she has the energy to do it? Let's even be realistic. Betty looks so worn out and drained that I cannot trust something high profile with her, because I don't think that she is operating in a healthy manner. Nobody's gonna tell you this at work. Nobody. It's for many people. It's not like they're standing and looking at Betty and they're thinking this in a conscious way. Most times, this is the brain automating this response, right? This is a conscious mind, and it's playing out. And so if you're in Betty's shoes and you're like, why does nobody take me seriously? Why does nobody respect me? This is why. Because as humans, we have certain things that we value. We have certain traits and characteristics that when we see in other people, we value them. Right? I'll give you an example. I was talking to, one of an acquaintance the other day, and this person was telling me about, her struggle with confidence, and she wanted to be able to show up as a leader and a confident person. And she was asking me, how can she show up the way I show up? Right? So she saw me embodying something, and she's like, I want that. How can I show up the way that you do? So there's certain traits that we see in others that the human DNA has been encoded with to be perceived as valuable. All right? So somebody who is healthy enough to have boundaries and is able to say no is perceived as more valuable than somebody who cannot. Because evolution, she likes healthy genes. So healthy genes that are likely to survive in the future are much more likely to be people that have boundaries. People that are not afraid to say no. It's this stuff that I'm telling you guys, I told you, it took me years to let it. But when you get it, you get it. So this is not about okay, now I have to start acting this way. So this is about you understanding why you're not getting the thing that you think you're supposed to get by killing yourself and devaluing yourself. This is the reason why. So when I say decide the kind of woman that you want to be, do you want to be the kind of woman that does not have any boundaries and cannot say no and whatnot? Or do you want to be the healthy woman that understands that, hey, when I'm able to do something, I'll say yes. And when I'm not able to do something, I'll say no. And the mere thought of me being able to do that and have the courage to do that is signaled to other people as a healthy person. And so when we see people that are healthy, we value that as a high trait. It's a desirable thing. Good health. Good health. Okay? So you, in step 2, now that you've decoupled and now that you're deciding, okay, I want to be the healthy woman that has boundaries and is not killing herself and whatnot. When you've decided that, not that AB told you to do so, I would never do that. I would never do that. You are at your own liberty to choose, okay? I would never do that. But when you have decided, you're going to start attracting people that would respect you. You're going to start attracting people that would take you seriously. You're going to start attracting better opportunities to you. People are going to feel safe in your presence because you are embodying the energy of good health. And in this day and age where a lot of women are not, they're not operating the way they've been designed to operate, you would even stand out more. Like you would be this pen or what was I going to use? You would be like this bottle of water in dry ground. Like you would even stand out more. You will stand out more. And the thing that you think that you're chasing by destroying yourself, you would even get it in more doses. You would even get it in more doses. Okay, so we've talked about step 1. Step 2 is deciding the kind of person, because when you do decide and you start doing the things to become the kind of person, you will have the thing, which is the respect and people taking you seriously. All right, I'm gonna pause here, take a sip, and we'll move to step 3. Okay, so in step 3, what I noticed and why I added a step 3 is that because a lot of us are living in reality, you're going to encounter situations that are going to pull you back and take you to the previous situation where you were thinking that you need to work twice as hard to get the same level of respect and people taking you seriously. So you're going to get those kind of situations. And in those situations, it's perfectly normal to, revert a little bit, and then you discover that, oh, you slipped up, and then you go back. So in step 3, what I have done to be able to maintain the status quo of being the kind of woman that is healthy enough to know what is good for me and what is not good for me. In step 3, this is actually now where you actually take the action to be the woman, right? So that you can have the thing. Remember, step 2 was making a decision. And I gave you the reasons for making the decision, and I slightly included step 3 in there. But in step 3 now, this is where you start creating and having boundaries. Okay? Now, the difference, because when I say boundaries, many women start to think that it means, okay, now you have to go tell people your boundaries. When people come to ask you, can you do this? You have to tell them, this is my boundary. Don't do this. Don't ask me to do that. That is not what I'm talking about. No, that's not what I'm talking about. The kind of boundaries that I'm referring to, these are energetic boundaries. Boundaries are energetic. So it's almost a little bit of a tautology to say energetic boundaries, because boundaries are energetic. However, for the purpose of clarity, I would say energetic boundaries. So in this step, you're going to have to create this scenario of what are the things that I have to do to be the kind of woman that is healthy enough to have boundaries. What are the kind of things to do? What are the things that I will say, or what are the things that I know deep in my heart that I'm not available for? What are the things that I know that I am available for? And most importantly is, how can I enforce this? So I said, telling people when they come and ask you at work, can you do this? Can you do that? And saying, no, I can't do this because you're breaking my boundaries. That's not boundary enforcement. That is not. If you have to tell people that you have a boundary, you probably don't have it. Because when you have a boundary, it is impossible for anybody to break that boundary. Let me repeat that. When you have a boundary that has been embodied in your energy, it is impossible for anybody to break that. The only way they can break that, they're going to have to physically move you. And in many countries around the world, that's considered assault. That's considered a crime. So you see that it is impossible for anybody to break that boundary without committing a crime. So how do you do this? How do you How do you engrave and become and the kind of woman that has it in her energy that she's not available to be in the office at 6 a.m. and close at 10 p.m. and whatnot? Ladies, dun, 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 you act. Like, take the action. So what does this look like? This could be, if you're the woman that has been doing this, leaving at 6 p.m., when it's 5 p.m., if your normal work hours are like 9 to 5, when it's not 5 p.m., pack up your bags and get out of there. This could also mean that instead of coming in at 6 a.m., you come in at 9 a.m. That literally is it, right? Because that's your designated work hours. If you have different work hours, then that is dependent on what your work hours are. But it's as simple as that. How is something so simple yet so effective? It's because when people see that you're doing that kind of thing, they're not going to start thinking that this is Betty that is a doormat, that, you know, you can give her anything. Because she's literally not there. Like, she's literally not there. So they're going to come to your desk at 6 p.m. and you're not there. So what they will have to do is they will have to go to your house and force their way into your home, because you're not going to open the door for that. So they're going to have to force their way into your house, drag you out of your house, take you to the office, chain you to a desk, and put your computer in there and point a gun at your head and say, do this work. I know that sounds, you're going to say, Amy, that's extreme, but I have to give this extreme example so you guys understand. Ladies, you have to understand that that is what it will take to break your boundary when you've got it enforced and when you've got it embodied in your energy. That is the hoops they would have to jump. Most people will not do that, okay? Most will not do that, but that is what they would have to do. All right, so it is as simple as that. In addition to enforcing and having your energetic boundaries, is you also want to make sure that when you are, you know, embodying this energy of being valuable, you're proving it by the actions that you do. So if people are bringing work that you perceive to not necessarily be worth all your time and effort, right? Prioritize accordingly. What this means is that you are now in a state of where you're prioritizing what is critical, what is important, right? If you're in my field, if you're in my coaching container, if you've been watching my videos, you know my 3D system. Do, delegate, ditch, right? You can use that and prioritize what is worth my time, literally. Like, if your manager assigns you to something and he tells you the VP is waiting for it, you know, that is something that is, you know, perceived as higher value than if Sally in finance is asking you to do something that is her own work, that is less valuable. So these are ways that you start to use, you know, it's not just having boundaries, but also using wisdom and working smarter. Actually, that should be step 4. That should be step 4. So after you've done implementing and having your energetic boundaries, the next step you want to make sure is that you're working smarter. Prioritize accordingly. It is not everything that you have to do. Prioritize which one is going to make the greatest impact to the organization. Which one is going to have the least impact? Which one is going to affect your bottom line? What are you required to do? What are you paid for? This is where I love the specialist mentality. And I'm going to do another video or training for you guys where I teach you to be that feminine specialist. But we'll get there. I'll talk about it in another video. Where you're streamlined your energy to what it is that is the most important thing that you need to do that will benefit the organization largely, and at the same time will allow people perceive you as a woman that has a higher value at work. When you're able to become that kind of woman, statements like, I have to work twice as hard to get the same level of results will not be coming out of your mouth. You would not be saying things like that. The fact that you're actually saying things like that tells me that you are not there. Okay? So this is not to put anybody down. It's more so to create awareness. When you become aware, then you've done 50% of the work that it takes to get there. And part of learning is awareness, right? Like for me, it took me years, right? And every day I have to still do the work to implement these things that I'm telling you guys, because I get to new levels every day. And when you get to new levels, there are changes that take place within your mind and your body that you need to essentially accommodate to be able to do the work. So I do these things that I'm telling you guys every day because I know that the alternative is not for me. Like, no, I'm not available for that. Okay? So if any of the things that I talked about today, if you're the person who is struggling right now at work, you are feeling overwhelmed, you have no idea. You have no idea where to start. You think that the next stage for you is to quit. That's the only option that you're thinking about. If that is you, I can help. This is my bread and butter, because this is something that I had to overcome to be the woman that you guys are seeing today. So I can help. So reach out to me and let me know if you are looking for some help with having that balance in your life because you're feeling overwhelmed and you only think that the option for you right now is to quit. Don't quit. Don't quit. Reach out to me first and let me see how I can help. And then we can come up with a strategy that can help you get to that level of balance, that state of life where you're relaxed, where you're confident, where you know your value, where you're able to have hobbies, where you're able to show up at work excellently, have the respect that you desire without sacrificing your life, your career, or whatnot. You don't have to sacrifice. You can have it all, but you get to decide what is a priority to you in the bucket of the things that you desire. Okay? So that's the training that I had for you ladies today. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Next week, I have another popular coming up. A lot of women have asked me and reached out to me, Adi, can you share this? Can you share this? Can you share strategies on how it can help? Am I going to tell you the topic? No. Why would I do that? Okay? I will see you guys next week. Enjoy the week. Bye.